What is going on, Pats Nation? It's your boy Kobe, also known as Patriots Global, back here with another one, continuing on our New England Patriots free agency frenzy edition, because today, here on Friday, the New England Patriots are making a couple of moves heading into the weekend. Now, the Patriots, as we all know, extremely active. Day one of the legal tampering period back on Monday, even making some moves with Harold Landry on Sunday. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, Patriots make zero moves. Thursday, they made some moves. We broke down the addition of K'Lavon Chasen. And then today, making a couple pair of moves as the Patriots are still adding here. They are adding, according to Tom Pelissero, interior offensive lineman Wes Schweitzer. I believe I'm saying this right. It is a wild name, Wes Schweitzer. I believe I'm saying this right, to a one-year deal. They are also signing safety Marcus Epps to a one-year deal worth up to $4.4 million. So we don't currently know the deal for Wes Schweitzer, but we do know the deal on Marcus Epps, and he can make at maximum $4.4 million. We're going to break down both of these moves. We're going to talk about what I like about them, what I don't like about them. But before we do that, we had some somewhat Patriots-related news happen today. And I say somewhat because although it wasn't a signing, it was a guy that the Patriots were reportedly in on, and that was Cooper Kupp. Okay, this broke about 2, maybe 3 hours ago that Cooper Kupp has a new home, but it is not here in New England. In fact, I have Cooper Kupp's contract numbers, so I need a co-host, you guys, so they can talk while I find these numbers. But Cooper Kupp ended up signing a 3-year, $45 million deal, by the way, worth up to $45 million. So the maximum that Cooper Kupp is going to be making with the Seattle Seahawks is $45 million. That comes out to be about $15 million per year. Apparently, the Patriots were not willing to give up as lucrative of a deal for Cooper. I did not want Cooper Kupp when you had to trade for him because you also had to give up draft assets. But I said, you still have, from what's reported, $85 million to still spend in cap space. You can go out there and offer more for Cooper Kupp than anybody else is going to. Now, you want to be smart with your contracts. You don't want to go out there and give Cooper Kupp, a 4-year deal, giving him about $20 million a year. But it sounded like the Patriots weren't even willing to meet him at $12 million a year. And this is the part that I do not understand. I understand we want to get younger, but I don't care where this team is at. I don't care that you want to get younger. You do still need veterans on this team. You need veterans at every single position. Not every single position, but for most positions, especially this wide receiver core. You do still need veterans. Do we not know what just happened last year with pretty much every single wide receiver outside of Kendrick Bourne going to Twitter, going to Instagram, and posting some type of critique? What am I saying? Some type of cryptic, there we go. Some type of cryptic message on social media. Why? Because that wide receiver room last year was so young. They were so confident. They had such high egos. They had nobody to direct them. That's why this wide receiver room needs a veteran. And I know you got Matt Collins. I think he'll help, but I don't think he was going to bring what Cooper Kupp brought. The IQ of Cooper Kupp, the teammate of Cooper Kupp, the leadership of Cooper Kupp. To me, that's what you're paying for. I still think that Cooper is a very good wide receiver. Is he a wide receiver 1? Not at all. But Cooper Kupp is a wide receiver 2. Anybody saying that Cooper Kupp is less than a wide receiver 2 is not watching film and is absolutely disrespecting him. Now look I get it. Cooper Kupp, he's taken a step back, and he'll continue to take a step back each and every single year. Statistically, that's what's been happening for about 2-3 years now. But who else are the Patriots going to get at wide receiver? This was one of your last chances to get a high-quality guy. And it sounded like you weren't even willing to pay $12 million. Now, here's the thing. Maybe Cooper Kupp wanted a multi-year deal. And if Cooper Kupp wanted a multi-year deal, then I was out on him. The maximum that I would have been okay with giving Cooper Kupp would have been a 2-year deal. Ideally, in a perfect world, I'm only giving Cooper Kupp a 1-year deal. Why? Because he's on the back end of his career. The Patriots do need wide receivers that are on an upward trajectory at some point. Cooper Kupp isn't someone that you want here long term. Maybe that's why he went to the Seahawks. But from what it sounds like, the Patriots did not get him because money-wise, they were not willing to pay up for him. And that's what I don't understand. Did they think that they were going to get Cooper Kupp for $8, $9, even $10 million a year? That's not realistic. I thought this would have been a perfect time to at least improve your wide receiver core for 2024. And if you said, hey, Coop, we're not going to sign you to a multi-year deal, but we're going to give you a 1-year deal. A 1-year deal where you can show out, test the market, and we're going to give you $17 million. What else are you going to use the money for? Where else is your cap space truly going to go? I can promise you it's not going to go to a guy that's better than Cooper Kupp. Not for 2020. I think it's a 2024. Not for 2025. Still in 2024. Not for 2025. You're not getting a guy that's going to be better than Cooper Kupp. Entice him to sign a 1-year deal with you, because then you can reevaluate. If he stays healthy, he goes off, you can give him an extension, or he can go elsewhere. He can go with the Seahawks. He can retire. He can go anywhere else he wants. But the Patriots have the money, and I think they should have went all into giving him a big contract, at least for 1 year. So I'm a little disappointed that they're out on him. I don't really know where the Patriots pivot from this point to get themselves some help at the wide receiver position. It looks like it's either going to be through the draft or maybe they're still in on Brandon Ayuk. One guy that I will throw out there before we get into Marcus Epps and Wes Schweitzer here, Tyler Lockett. Okay, Tyler Lockett has been slept on his entire career. Tyler Lockett is getting older. He's not someone you're going to sign to a 4-year deal. But maybe the Patriots could sign Tyler Lockett to a 1-2-year deal, give him some respective money. I haven't really heard a lot of teams being in on Tyler Lockett anyway, and he's someone that I think could fill that same role that Cooper Kupp was going to in the slot, a guy who can play outside a little bit. I think would fit Josh McDaniel's system really, really well. A leader, a guy who has, regular season, postseason, Super Bowl experience, which I think would be very valuable, especially in this wide receiver room. So now that you don't get Cooper Kupp, pivot. Go to Tyler Lockett and see if you can get him in the building, because, again, you bring in Tyler Lockett, and Lockett is the best wide receiver that is currently on your roster. And, again, from what's being reported, doesn't sound like Tyler Lockett has a big market. In fact, I've heard quite literally nothing involving Tyler Lockett since he has been released from the Seahawks. But, guys, this is where I kick it to you. Let us know what you guys think. When I say us, I mean me. Let me know what you guys think about the whole Cooper Kupp situation, and would you bring in Tyler Lockett now that we're pivoting away from Cooper Kupp? I would love to hear from you guys. I see S27 coming in here, my boy. You say Diggs instead of Lockett. Now, this is something that I've seen all over Patriots social media is when you missed out on Cooper Kupp, go get Diggs. All right, he's better than Lockett at this point. And I do think that Diggs is better than Lockett. I think if we're talking about a pure player standpoint, then Diggs is a guy that I think has more left in his tank than somebody like Lockett does. Not to disrespect Lockett, because I think he'll still give you very good production. I think he's going to give you better production than any Patriots receiver gave you over the last 2 years, which is that's a pretty big statement right there. But I just don't think that Diggs is what the wide receiver room needs. If you look at every signing that the Patriots have made, not only is it a scheme fit, not only do the Patriots have some type of connection back to that player within their coaching staff, but it is also a guy that is going to be very, very good for the locker room, for the culture of the team. Mike Vrabel is really taking into account how these guys are going to impact the team in the locker room and off the field. And I look at that aspect and I say, I do not think that Diggs falls under that category. I know everybody's only looking at the player standpoint. All fans care about is the production on the field, is how successful this team is. But sometimes that success of a team is also built with the connection of the team. Are the guys playing for themselves, or are the guys playing together for each other as a unit? And I think that's what Mike Vrabel, Elliott Wolf, that is what they're also trying to build within the guys that they are signing to this team. Not just guys who are going to make an impact on the field, but guys who are going to make an impact off the field. And that's why, to me, Cooper Kupp made a lot of sense. That's why, to me, Tyler Lockett, he makes a lot of sense. That's why Matt Collins makes a ton of sense. Stefon Diggs, with all the allegations that have come out about him, allegedly, with all the things that happened with Minnesota, with Buffalo, he's a diva. And Connor says it best himself. He's a diva. He's also coming off of a season-ending injury. I think he'll come back. I think he'll at least be serviceable as a number 2. But I don't think that Diggs is the type of guy that you want from a person standpoint. Is Diggs really the type of guy that we want in the wide receiver room with Kayshon Boutte, with Javon Baker, with Jalen Polk, given the track record of these wide receivers just last year? Is Diggs really the guy we want leading that room? I don't think so. Again, we have to take into account the locker room, off the field, the connection of the players, the connection of the team, and the team playing as a unit, the team playing as an actual team. The best example I can make of this is the Buffalo Bills, because the Buffalo Bills started to actually play as a cohesive unit this past season. They didn't have a great roster. They had a lot of holes. Everybody thought they were going to take a step back. But they didn't. They got better. They were really a Dalton Kincaid catch away from potentially winning the AFC Championship game and going to the Super Bowl when everybody thought they were done. Why? Because they had the correct atmosphere. They had the correct vibes. They played for the guy to the left and to the right. They played cohesively as a unit. They didn't worry about one individual player playing for themselves. And ironically, they did that just a year after Stefon Diggs leaves. In fact, actually, it was more so a few months after Stefon Diggs leaves. I think a lot of the problems we've seen from Buffalo within the last couple of years, especially offensively, especially from Josh Allen and all his turnovers, I think a lot of that came because he had to force feed the ball to the diva that Stefon Diggs was. Do you guys really want to mess up Drake May? Do you want to mess up the rest of the wide receiver room because you have a guy, a diva in there that is going to dictate the behavior? I don't think so. And that's okay if you have a different opinion. Because again, from a football player standpoint, I think Stefon Diggs is good. But we have to understand that the product you get on the field is not just about being a good football player or not. The product also comes with the connection between players, and the success of a team comes between your team playing cohesively as a unit or not. And again, not hating on anybody else's opinion. That's just mine. Diehard Pats fan comes in here with a $10 donation. I feel like I haven't seen you in years, Diehard. Welcome on back. You said, why does it seem like the quarterbacks are not getting the kind of support they need and deserve? It's not like we haven't had a head coach, what gives? A new head coach, what gives? I'm trying to think. I don't know why. I don't feel like I understood that question very well. So why does it seem like the quarterbacks are not getting the kind of support that they deserve? I mean, I don't know. I mean, with Drake May, I wouldn't say he's not getting support. I just think that it's a process. You know, you think Drake May is being surrounded with the correct coaching staff. He was last year. I still even think, although they turned over the coaching staff offensively this year, I do still think that, you know, Drake May is being surrounded with players that are going to help his development. But when it comes to the personnel that's on the field, I think we're already seeing under Mike Vrabel, they're trying to address it. They're trying to address the offensive line. They tried to get Ronnie Stanley. They offered Ronnie Stanley $24 million a year, and he turned it down to take a significant pay cut to go play with the Ravens. In fact, the Patriots had competition for Ronnie Stanley from the Chiefs and Commanders. By the way, Chiefs and Commanders tampered with Ronnie Stanley before he hit free agency. So there's going to be repercussions for both of those teams. So it's not like the Patriots aren't trying. They also got Morgan Moses, a veteran right tackle who, by the way, if you guys have not seen his introductory press conference the other day, once the Patriots signed him, go back and watch it. Morgan Moses is going to be a bizarrely underrated signing. I'm not saying he's going to be all pro from a standpoint on the field, but from the leadership, from getting this team right, the mindset, people being where they're supposed to be and simply executing, Morgan Moses is going to be a big part of that. Everybody's talking about the loss of David Andrews, and rightfully so. Who's going to be the next guy? Who's going to fill the captain role of David Andrews? That guy's in the building, and his name is Morgan frickin' Moses. And I don't think people are understanding what he's going to do off the field. Morgan Moses is going to be your David Andrews. Morgan Moses is going to be your Matthew Slater. Guys who weren't elite on the field, but their true impact came off the field and making sure that everybody was in the correct place, keeping everybody motivated to win any given week. And there's such value in that, especially for Drake May. But shout out to Diehard Passing for that $10 donation. Let's go. My boy Four Nation comes in with a $5 donation and says, Tet and Ursery at this point, less defense is good because our defense sucked last year, so no excuses. I think they've addressed defense pretty heavily so far in free agency. You want to look back at this channel, all of the videos we've made about the signings from Carlton Davis, from Milton Williams to Caleb Chasen, they have added a lot on defense, and I like that they have. I actually think that they should add defense through free agency because I think that's where more game changers have actually hit free agency. I don't feel like a lot of true offensive game changers, true offensive playmakers have really hit the open market, but from a defensive standpoint, they have. Patriots defense, I think, early on is going to get the ground running. It's going to be a big reason why this team has success early on, and I think that's the plan. I think that's what Mike Vrabel is trying to do. They're trying to make sure that this defense is addressed with veterans and make sure that they actually have depth, because with that being said, one, the Patriots didn't have depth this past year, but two, when you have rookies, the process takes a little bit longer. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have growing pains at first, but with veterans, they're going to come in, they're going to know exactly what they're doing, they're going to get the ground running, and the Patriots are going to win early on because of that defense. Something that we thought they were going to do last year, but ultimately they didn't. So with that being said, I think they should go offensive heavy in the draft, and I think that is their plan. Address as much as you can defensively in free agency so that when the draft comes along, the majority of your needs can go to the offense. That's not to say they're not going to draft any defense. They should draft defense. This is a very good defensive line class, so they should address defense still. But early on, Ford Nation, I love both of the names you threw out there. Ted McMillan, I think you could trade down. I don't think you need to pit Ted McMillan at 4. Didn't run his 40. From what I understand, he's fallen a little bit. I'm not going to say he's drastically fallen, but he's fallen a little bit down boards because there is some concern about how fast he is. So I think you could trade down a few spots, still get Ted McMillan if that's the receiver you really like, whether it's him or Matthew Golden. And then in the second round, you can get Ariante Ursery, who I'm a massive, massive fan of, to pin in over at left tackle. Now you have what you're hoping to be your wide receiver 1, and you have your starting left tackle. You have to, if you want a good left tackle, you have to draft a left tackle. Those guys just do not hit free agency. If you want a good wide receiver 1 or a good wide receiver 2, guess what? You have to draft them. Good offensive players do not become available in free agency. Let this offseason, let last offseason, let the last several offseasons be a beautiful example of this. You want offensive game changers, you have to draft them. My boy Trey comes in here with a $2 donation. Did I miss one? I think I missed one donation. We're going to get back to it. Trey comes in here with a $2 donation and says, this team is allergic to good receivers. Trey, I'm starting to think they might be. I'm really starting to think they might be. Look, they're trying to be strategic, and I get it. I will say as fans, we look at things very white and black, right? we don't always look at the large picture of things. We just understand if the team does or does not do something. We as fans understand we are either successful or we are not successful. We're not necessarily taught to look at the big picture. And I think what Vrabel, what Wolf they're trying to do is that, one, they don't want to give out bad contracts, which is smart. You have the money, but you also don't want to give out bad contracts because that bites you in the butt later down the road. Let the Tennessee Titans be a beautiful example of that. Last offseason, they went all in to win immediately, and now they have the first overall pick. And they gave out bad contracts, which are kind of keeping them hell-bent to signing good free agents and making moves and paying their players down the road. I also think that they understand that if they go out and they get receivers who are on the decline, who are 30, 31, 32 plus years old, those guys are going to be here for 2 years max. How much are they really going to give you? And it's more likely than not, they're not going to be here by the time this team genuinely starts competing in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl. So I think that's why they haven't made the moves. I think they understand that if they are going to sign a guy long-term, if they're going to make a trade, it has to be a guy that makes sense in this system. And it has to be a guy that is going to be a big vocal point to this offense long-term. And when they start competing again, because again, guys, the truth of the matter is that in 2025, we shouldn't expect the Patriots to compete. If they have a Commanders-like type year, great. But Commanders fans will tell you straight up, they were not expecting to be a playoff contender. They weren't expecting to go to the playoffs, this past season in 2024. They thought we'll be a mid-tier team, beat up on the bad teams, maybe be a dark horse playoff team. They didn't expect to be where they were at. And that's why they're going all in this offseason. But I believe I missed this one. And Isaiah, this was the first donation. So shout out to Isaiah. $10 donation. I don't know how I missed this. For some reason, just didn't come in until this point. And you're the first one who donated. So everyone, big shout out to Isaiah in the chat saying, this could be an out there take. But when you think of how much Josh McDaniels values running backs in his offense, we could draft Ashton Jeanty from Boise State. Now, look, I've seen Patriots fans throw it out there. I really like him. I really like Ashton Jeanty. I'm a big Ashton Jeanty fan. Like, don't get me wrong. But they can't. And if the pick happened, I'd be like, damn, we got one of the best players in the draft, man. But that's not what we need. I mean, tackle, bigger need. Interior of the offensive line, bigger need. Edge rusher, bigger need. Defensive tackle, the bigger need. Wide receiver, bigger need. There's so many bigger needs before running back. And I know that everybody's worried about Ramondre and his fumbling problems. It really wasn't a true problem until this past season. Now, he's had moments where we're like, oh, if this continues, it's going to be a problem. But it never became a true problem until this past year. He had a really good year under Josh McDaniels, right? We have to keep in mind, too, the Patriots had the worst run-blocking offensive line in the NFL this past season. So, also, how much of his problems were on the lack of blocking? We're on the lack of quality coaching. I think we also have to keep that in mind. But they also have Antonio Gibson. Now, Gibson had some fumbling problems this past season, too, which, again, is why I think it came down to not good coaching and a terrible offensive line. But if you can't, for some reason, rely on Ramondre Stevenson, which I do not think is going to be the case, then you have Antonio Gibson, who I think is going to thrive in this system. This is also a very, very good running back class. It's a very good edge class. The second or third best position in this draft class is running back. So if you want to address that position, you can get a guy in rounds 3, 4 that are going to give you starting caliber play. I'm a massive, massive fan of, oh my God, why is his name escaping me right now? Not Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins. That's who it is. Both from Ohio State. But Quinshon Judkins is my guy in this draft. If the Patriots can get him, he's projected somewhere between like rounds 2 to 3. If they can somehow get him, I'd be all for it. But staying pat at 4, which is what the Patriots would have to do to get Ashton Jeanty, it just makes absolutely no sense to me, especially the value. It just doesn't make sense. Love the player, but it just doesn't make sense. Die Hard comes in here with a $50 donation. Hey, yo, hold up. Everybody in the chat right now, give it up for diehard Pats fan. I feel like I wish there was like a way I could keep like super chats like in the corner or something. Like if we get a big donation, you deserve to be on the screen longer. Die hard coming in here. I feel like I haven't seen you in a minute and already come out here guns a-blazing, a $50 donation and a $10 donation earlier. Everybody give it up in the chat right now for Die Hard. Guys, I say this all the time, but I want to say it again. Real moment, real quick. Real moment. We're going to keep talking about football, but real moment. You guys know that this channel is the world to me. I've been doing this channel. I'm 23 now. I've been doing this channel since sophomore year of high school. Man, I used to give up going to parties, hanging out with friends because I'd be like, oh, Josh Gordon just got unsuspended. I can't hang out with you guys. I got to go make a video right now. We have built an amazing community here, and I couldn't do it without you guys. The fact that you guys give back to the channel as much as you do means the absolute world to me, and you guys know I do this full time. So you guys donating to the channel help support me so much, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. All of you who do donate, you guys are the absolute best. But Die Hard says, it's been a while since I could catch a live, but I've been watching the videos later. Hey, you guys always know if you can't watch the live streams in the moment, that's okay, because I always leave my live streams up for you guys to go back and look at after. But he said, life took over, too much crap going on in my life, unfortunately, but I'm still with you, PG. You are the best Patriots commentator on YouTube. I really appreciate that. I try my best. You know, the biggest thing that I try to make myself that's different from other people is I try to make myself genuine. And like, you have very professional YouTube channels on here for Boston sports media, Patriots media, NFL media. I could be one of those suit and tie guys if you guys wanted me to be. But I feel like it's a little bit more fun and genuine if we kick it back, relaxed, we don't do too much, and we just keep it real and we have fun no matter what. So diehard Pats fan, shout out to you. Prayers up for whatever's going on in your life. Feels like it's just a rough time for everybody as of late. But we got Trey coming in here with a $10 donation. Trey, you're killing it too. Looks like you got a little mock draft for me going on here. I like it. I like it. We haven't even broken down the guys yet. We'll do that here shortly. But Trey comes in and he says, one, Abdul Carter. Abdul Carter, to me, number one player in this draft, hands down. There's no debate. I don't think he's getting there. He's going in easily the first 3 picks. Whether it's the Browns, which I think is less likely now that they got Myles Garrett back, whether it's the Titans, who have been very interested in Abdul Carter based on reports, or whether it's the Giants, I think one of those teams will be smart enough to realize, yeah, we can't let Abdul Carter fall to 4. It's just not possible. So if he's there, you run that card up to the board. The Patriots won the entire draft if Abdul Carter falls to 4. I just don't think it happens. Round 2, Alec Ayumanor. I believe I'm saying that name right now. I don't hate him, but I think there's better options to go. Me personally, what I would have done in this case, round 1, Abdul Carter. Okay, round 2, let's address the offensive line. Because after those top-tier guys at offensive tackle, I do think that there is a fall-off. This is not a good year. This is not a good depth year for offensive tackle. So I probably would have went tackle there in the 2nd round personally. But you go Alec Ayumanor, excuse me. I kind of like Higgins. Another guy that I've been looking at is Jalen Knoll. I think he'd fit perfectly that slot receiver who can play some outside receiver too if the Patriots need in Josh McDaniels' offense. He was one of the best players in the combine, period. Round 3, this is where you have gone offensive tackle, Holland Pierce. Okay, so at least you addressed it. So I'm not too upset here. Round 3, you're going Ozzie Trapillo, again, getting a little bit of depth there. All right, Morgan Moses signed a 3-year deal. How long is he really going to be here? That's the biggest question. Round 4, Cam Scatterbo. Now, there was a lot of hype for him over the last few months where people thought, hey, maybe this guy could be like a 2nd rounder. Feels like that hype has died down. I have a 4th round grade on him, a 3rd to 4th round grade, so I don't think this is unrealistic. I do like the selection. Yeah, I don't really have too many objections. Any objections I had, I kind of listed to you. Cam Scatterbo is like easily in my top 7 running backs. I do have guys ahead of him, but he is in my top 7. So if they did draft him in the mid rounds, I wouldn't mind it whatsoever. And then shout out to Ford Nation with a $2 donation saying, Colby, Know you have a lot, but Patriots Roundtable. Hey, man, look. We got to get Patriots Roundtable back. For those of you who don't know, I did have another show on the AFC East Roundtable brought to you by Roundtable Sports, where basically it was me and my co-host Jace, and we broke down Patriots news about once a week. Now, he was very busy, so we didn't get to do as many live streams as we wanted, but we do need to bring it back. We got Jets Roundtable going. We got the Dolphins Roundtable going all the time. We need to bring Patriots Roundtable back. That is going to happen. It is in the works. Whether it is Jace that comes back with me, or maybe we'll bring on Rob, and me and Rob will hit up Patriots Roundtable once a week on the AFC East Roundtable. We will find another co-host, and Patriots Roundtable will be back. I promise you that. We got to bring Rob back on this show too, man. I know he's been busy. He's about to be a whole dad, but we're going to get Rob back. I've been talking to Rob. Me and Rob talk on a regular basis. It's just about trying to find the right time to get him back on the show. But like I said, the Patriots did make a few signings here. The first one they made was Marcus Epps. And this move is to help the Patriots over at free safety. Now, I don't love this move, but it's a depth move. What this move is telling me with Marcus Epps is that there is going to be our first official battle of training camp, and it is at the free safety position. It is going to be between Marcus Epps and Jalen Hawkins. Jalen Hawkins, who we saw this past season with the Patriots on a one-year deal, played at free safety, played about 600-700 snaps for the Patriots defensively. Wasn't terrible. Patriots could definitely use an upgrade. I think Marcus Epps is a little bit better of a free safety than Jalen Hawkins is, but that is really a position that can go to either guy. This is why I wanted Javon Holland. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Look, you can't address every single need in one offseason, but this is the exact reason that I wanted Javon Holland. Because if you sign Javon Holland, you officially don't have to worry about who your free safety is anymore. And ever since Devin McCourty retired, the Patriots haven't had that guy. Have you guys noticed that the secondary has lacked ever since Devin McCourty retired? Why? One, you're losing the leadership. But two, it's because Devin McCourty was so good at making sure that the communication was correct on every given snap and making sure that there was never blown coverage. The Patriots have tried Jalen Hawkins. The Patriots have tried Jonathan Jones. The Patriots have tried Jabril Peppers and Kyle Duggar, different rotating free safeties every single game, rather than having one guy back there. And then we sit and we ask ourselves, why do the Patriots keep having blown coverage? Why did DK Metcalf just blow between Christian Gonzalez and Kyle Duggar, two of your best secondary players? It comes because the lack of communication on the back end, which starts with your free safety. Your free safety is a big reason on preventing big plays. One, in the receiving game, make sure that something doesn't, pop off over the top. And then in the running game, your free safety is the last line of defense, making sure that running backs don't pop a 50-yard, 60-yard gain, 50, 60-yard touchdown on your team. And how many times has that happened to the Patriots over the last 2 years, especially this past offseason? So I don't love these moves. I do think that the Patriots do still need their franchise free safety, and I don't think it's between Hawkins or Epps. I don't think either of those guys are the future. I think they're placeholders. But that is going to be your first battle in training camp, is who is your starting free safety, Marcus Epps or Jalen Hawkins? Both of those guys are not making the roster. You're either getting Hawkins or you're getting Epps in 2025. It's not going to be both. Both are also here on one-year deals. The safety room is stacked right now. Not all the guys are going to be able to make the final roster, and it is very redundant to keep both Epps and Hawkins on the same roster. Now, I did hit up my boy Graphic Raider because Epps played for the Raiders over the last 2 years. And I said, you like Marcus Epps? What are the Patriots getting here? And Graphic Raider said 2 words. I guess 3. Mid as fuck. That's what he said. He said, the guy's just mid. You're not getting anything great. He's not terrible. He's just mid. He's going to give you average play, which is exactly what Jalen Hawkins gave you this past season. And then he follows that up by saying, Chasen, though. Chasen is a really good addition. So he likes the addition of Caleb on Chasen. Doesn't love the addition of Marcus Epps. And I want to look at his numbers for you guys here. Pull it up. All right. Share this with you guys. Make sure you can see it. All right, perfect. So this past season, in 2024, with the Raiders, Marcus Epps had an overall PFF grade of 46.9 that ranked 154th out of a qualifying 171 safeties. His pass rush grade of 70.8 ranked 18th out of a qualifying 171 safeties. His run defensive grade of 63.5 ranked 99th out of a qualifying 171 safeties. And then the most important part of a free safety, his coverage grade. It ranked 44, or excuse me, he had an overall grade of 44, which ranked 150th out of a qualifying 171 safeties. Now, something else that graphic grader had to say about Marcus Epps is that he said he's a really great teammate. He's a great communicator, both of which are very important to play at free safety, both of which we also know are very important to Mike Vrabel. Marcus Epps, another very good tackler, something we else know, very important to Mike Vrabel. But batting coverage. If you're my free safety, the number one thing I need you to do is be good in coverage. It's great that you're a pretty decent pass rusher. It's great that you're good against the run. But I need you to be more consistent in coverage, and that's the biggest problem here with Epps. When quarterbacks targeted him this past season, they had a passer rating of 109.3. He allowed 11.1 yards per reception. So that's roughly a first down per reception. Now, he didn't play all that much this past season, but in 2023, he did. As you can see, where is it? Here it is. As you can see here, he played 1,030 snaps back in 2023. So I feel like this gives you a bit of a better feel on what you're getting from him. An overall grade of 65.4 that ranks 69th out of a qualifying 174 safeties. He had a pass rush grade of 57.5 that ranked 90th amongst a qualifying 174 safeties. He had a 69.7 run defensive grade that ranked 49th out of a qualifying 174 safeties, and a coverage grade of 62.3, which ranked 85th out of a qualifying 174 safeties. 52 solo tackles, 0 interceptions, 19 receptions allowed. Quarterbacks, when targeting him, though, yet again, over a 100 overall passer rating, a 104.4 passer rating to be exact. Yet again, allowing a first down per reception of 10.7 yards per reception. Now, going back to 2022, this was his final year with Philadelphia before he signed with the Raiders in free agency. This was the year that the Philadelphia Eagles went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Kansas City Chiefs. He was a big part to their secondary that year, that Philadelphia Eagles secondary, playing 1,095 snaps. So keep in mind, although he wasn't necessarily their starting free safety for the Raiders in 2024, he was the Raiders starting safety back in 2023 and for the Eagles in 2022. With Philadelphia in 2022, had an overall grade of 56.6, a pass rush grade of 54.5, a run defensive grade, an elite run defensive grade of 85.2 that ranks 7th out of a qualifying 166 safeties. But again, another terrible coverage grade, 44.7. This to me tells me that that is just who Marcus Epps is, okay? It doesn't matter how much he's playing, how little he's playing. It doesn't matter what organization he's been with. No matter where Marcus Epps has been, this has been a guy that has struggled in coverage. To me, a defensive back that can't cover is like a wide receiver that can't catch. What is the point? I love that you can do the extracurriculars, but if you can't do the biggest thing that is the reason I'm signing you, then what's the point? What's the point? This past season, I will say, like I said, Marcus Epps was a little bit better than Jalen Hawkins. Jalen Hawkins had an overall grade of 60.1 this past season. Again, Epps had an overall grade of 65.4. Hawkins had an overall coverage grade this past season of 56.3. while Epps had an overall coverage grade of 62.3. So Epps, I said, he's marginally better, but he is slightly better. But yet again, as you can see, even with the Philadelphia Eagles, allowed over a 100 passer rating. He allowed a 141.2 passer rating when targeted. Yards per reception allowed, still more than a first down at 11.9 yards per reception. As crazy as it might sound, you guys might be saying, oh, well, Colby, you really hate this signing of Marcus Epps. I don't hate it. I wish the Patriots just did something to upgrade that position. I wish that they took it a little bit more serious, because that has been one of their biggest underrated holes over the last couple of years. Either way, we have to see what they do through the draft. But like I alluded to, this is going to be your first battle. Free safety. Who's it going to be? Marcus Epps or Jalen Hawkins? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. But getting back here, the Patriots did make another signing, an offensive lineman, Wes Schweitzer. Now, I've seen a lot of people try to say, well, he's probably going to play guard for you. And I don't think that's why the Patriots are bringing him in. I actually think that New England is bringing him in to play center, or at least compete for center. Right now, we don't know who the Patriots center is going to be. We all pretty much expected that David Andrews was going to be back. Then the Patriots release him. It's more than likely he ultimately ends up retiring. And now we're saying, okay, well, we thought center, right guard, and right tackle were figured out. All we needed was left tackle and left guard. Now the Patriots need center, left guard, left tackle. And I think Wes is going to be a guy that comes in and competes. Now, hasn't played very well at center, and we'll get into that here in a second, but he's also going to give you depth in the interior of the offensive line. Now, unfortunately, he's not going to give you depth at left guard. Throughout his time in the league, where he's played has more so been, the significant time he's played has been at right guard. So this is a guy who gives you experience on the right side, can be a depth piece for you for Michael Onwenu at right guard. But if you're looking for a starter, this isn't a guy that you should expect to plug in for you at left guard. This is a guy that if you're expecting him to come in and compete to be a starter on this O-line, you're expecting he's going to come in and compete at center. Let me show you guys his numbers rather. So this past season, he played a total of, make sure I get this right, played a total of 1 snap. So actually, we're not even going to look at this past season. We're going to look at 2023. If it allows us to. There we go. So this past season in 2023, played for the Jets in 2023. So the Patriots are familiar with him. He had an overall grade of 52.7. That ranked 95th out of a qualifying 136 guards. Had a 60 overall pass blocking grade that ranked 58th out of a qualifying 136 guards, and a 47 overall run blocking grade that ranked 114th out of a qualifying 136 guards. He played 149 offensive snaps, 1 penalty, 1 sack allowed. What this tells me is that he was a depth piece on the offensive line. He was not a starter for the New York Jets in 2023, but let the record state that he only played 10 snaps at center, played 139 snaps over at right guard. In 2022 is where you get a better idea of where he played at center. He played 419 total snaps. 348 of those came at center, and this was for the Washington Commanders. He had an overall grade of 59.3 that ranked 32 out of a qualifying 56 guards. A pass blocking grade of 42.9 that ranked 49th out of a qualifying 56 guards, and a run blocking grade of 65.3 that ranked 20th out of a qualifying 56 guards. 3 penalties, 3 sacks allowed. I think that's all it tells us. He also allowed 15 total pressures, 3 quarterback hits, on top of, again, the 3 sacks. 2021, he actually showed some promise. But this was the only season that he showed this promise. And that's the way I think he's a camp body. He's someone that the Patriots are bringing in, saying, we saw what you once were back in 2021. We know that you're a veteran. We want to see if we can tap into even slightly what you showed in 2021 with the Washington Commanders. That season, he put up an overall grade of 78.7. That ranked 11th out of a qualifying 135 guards. Had a pass blocking grade of 65.9. That ranked 56 out of a qualifying 135 guards. And a run blocking grade of 85.6. That ranked 8th out of a qualifying 135 guards. Played a total of 401 snaps. Mainly played over at right guard, but played a good amount at center also with 75 total snaps there. 5 penalties, 1 sack allowed, 2 quarterback hits, and 11 total pressures. Not really too much to say. He's also 31 years old, so he's on the back end of his career. Interior offensive linemen, though, they can play like 32, 33, even 34 and be fine, so I'm not too worried. Again, just a one-year deal. This is someone that I'm not expecting to be plugged in as a starter, but someone who is rather just there to be a camp body. Let's see what he has. At the very worst, it doesn't work out and you cut him. But if this is somebody that can compete to be your center and he wins the job, now you have your starting center. Maybe this is a guy that shows, okay, you know what? He's not better than the guys we have. He's not someone we want starting for an entire season, but we're going to keep him on the roster as a depth piece. Again, Patriots fans need to remember this team does not just need starters, especially on the O-line, but this team also needs depth behind those starters because injuries are ultimately going to happen. We saw that all of last season. When those injuries do happen, do you have good guys, quality guys that can back those guys up for a few games to start if need be? And I think this is exactly what this signing is. Not someone who's been a starter, not someone who you want starting for you for an entire season. But if you got to plug him in from time to time, I think he's someone who can do it serviceably. He's someone who's been way better at right guard, but he's shown that he can be at least an all right center. Don't love this move. I don't love either of these moves, to be completely honest with you guys, but they're depth moves. They're camp moves. They're moves where both of these guys are going to be battling come training camp if they want to make the final roster. They're not like the moves they made on day one of the legal tampering period where pretty much every signing was a starter. But this is where I kick it to you guys. What do you think about these two signings? Let me know in the comments. Want to get to the final super chats before we log off, though, on the day. We got Trey coming back in here with a $10 donation. Says, Dante Thornton Jr., zero relation to Taekwon, by the way. Similar build to T-Mac, 6'5", 210 pounds, and ran a 4.3 40-yard dash. Damn. Would you take him in the later rounds as a developmental guy or depth piece? Let me see, actually. I don't think I've done my due diligence on him just yet. Let me see something. Dante Thornton Jr. So let's see where his draft projection is, because 6'5", 210. That's a good build, right? 6'5" and 210. That's the problem with Taekwon. Taekwon was fast. He was tall, but he would be like, what was he like? 6'3", 6'4", and dude was like 180, 190 pounds max. It sounds like Thornton has the size, the speed, the frame, everything you'd be looking for, but where is he projected to go? Does Bleacher Report even have something on him? I don't think they do. I'm not even seeing a draft projection on him, so he must be like late around. So it says projected day 3. So he's going to be somewhere between 4th and 7th round pick. If you get to rounds like 5, 6, even if he's there in round 7, I'd take a shot on him, but I wouldn't go sooner. I also, maybe this is a hot take. I don't think it should be, but maybe it is. I don't want the Patriots to take a bunch of wide receivers in this draft. If they want to take one guy, okay. But I don't want another year where we're taking like 2, 3, 4 wide receivers. It just doesn't make sense. This wide receiver room is crowded. And when I say crowded, I don't mean it's good. I just mean there's a lot of guys in here that you have put resources into. Used a 2nd round pick on Jalen Polk last year. Used a 4th round pick on Javon Baker last year. It was a really bad year for this team, this organization, the coaching staff. Do you really want to give up on those guys after 1 year? Probably not. So you probably want to say that. I mean, it depends on what they do in the offseason, but you probably want to say that those guys are roster locks. I feel like keeping the veteran presence of Kendrick Bourne is very important. So I feel like he makes the roster. feel like Mac Hollins, he ultimately ends up making the roster. Kayshon Boutte, he's going to make the roster. And if you draft a guy in this draft, you're expecting that he's going to make the roster also. So, again, I don't want the Patriots taking a bunch of receivers because then they're held bent. And you're not actually allowing these guys to take the time to adequately develop. You're basically just saying, hey, hopefully one of you guys is going to break out and will hit on a diamond in the rough in some point. Sometimes it takes receivers 2-3 years to actually develop. And the last thing you want to do is get rid of a guy all too soon because you didn't give him enough time to actually be patient and develop. Damn, Trey, you going crazy right now. Let's go, yo. Shout out to Trey. Trey comes in with a $5 donation, says his stats are lacking due to inconsistencies with play calls at Tennessee, didn't feed him enough. I definitely would want to look into him a little bit more to give you like my full analysis. I honestly wasn't too familiar with his game. I know of him. I know of his game, but I can't give you like an in-depth analysis. He's definitely someone that I'll add to my list this week. This week, I plan on going more in-depth to like these mid to later round prospects that I haven't gotten to just yet. When it comes to the early round guys, I've done pretty much all of my work on those guys. There's some here and there who I still need to do some homework on, but for the most part, we're kind of into those mid to like late round guys. He's someone that I'll take a look at this week. I'll add him to the list. I would want to see his drop percentage too, because that could be another part. If he is inconsistent, like you're saying, he's not being fed. Well, why is that? Is it because he hasn't been reliable? That's something that I would want to see. I'd want to see his yards per route run. I would want to see how much separation he's getting. But again, he has the speed, he has the size, he has the frame. If he's a later round guy, I'd be perfectly fine with taking that shot. Patriots 92 comes in here with a $10 donation. Bless up, man. Bless up. You guys are freaking putting a smile on my face tonight, and I appreciate you guys so much. You are killing it. You said, since Hunter and Carter will be gone, who will be a better left tackle, Campbell or Kelvin Banks? So I actually think that there is potential that Travis Hunter could be there at 4. I'm not saying he will. I think realistically, what the first 3 picks in this draft should be, I'm not saying it will, but what the first 3 picks should be Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, and Jalen. Am I saying Jalen Carter? What name's escaping me right now? Abdul Carter. Excuse me. There we go. Carter. Those should be the first 3 picks gone. But we know that a lot of these teams, they need quarterbacks. So maybe Shador ultimately ends up squeezing there. Maybe because of that, Travis Hunter ends up falling to the Patriots at 4. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. But let's say that both of those guys are gone at 4. What do I do? Well, first off, I'm trading down. I don't think you need to take Kelvin Banks. I don't think that you need to take Will Campbell at number 4. I think if Will Campbell ultimately his arms checked out to be 33, 34, you probably would have had to have taken him at 4. But because they came in at 32, I think you can trade down. Now the Patriots are getting extra draft compensation. Now, even if things don't work out with Kelvin Banks or Will Campbell, you feel okay because at the very least you traded down and you got extra draft compensation to take more hits on the draft. I think that Will Campbell will still ultimately end up being the better offensive lineman. Whether he's at guard, whether he's at tackle, this might be a hot take. I still think he can play tackle. Morgan Moses kind of hit on this on, I think it was Patriots Unfiltered, I want to say he was on. Don't quote me on that, though. Where he basically said, it's not so much about your arm length, and it's more so about the talent you have, the techniques you have. And Will Campbell, he gets out of his stance so fast. He ran one of the best 40 times we've ever seen from an offensive tackle. He has the talent. He went up against some of the best edge defenders coming out of this draft class in a very good draft class for edge rushers and defensive linemen. And he owned each and every single one of them. So if his arm length didn't matter against those guys, why is his arm length all of a sudden going to matter when he transitions to the NFL? I get it. People are scared of something that has not been done before. But the measurement for arm length of an offensive tackle used to be 34 inches. Then it was, I want to say it was Rashawn Slater that came in, and he had 33-inch arms. And everyone was like, oh, he's a guard. He's a guard. He can only do 34. But he comes in at 33. They still try him at tackle. And he becomes one of the better tackles in the NFL currently. Now we're going down to 32-inch arms, and everybody's saying the exact same thing. What I believe you need to be a good tackle in the league is you need to be able to get out of your stance quick, and you need good technique. If you have good technique, I think that it will outweigh how big or small your arm length is. And honestly, I don't like Will Campbell as a guard. A 6'6" guard, I'm going to be doinking the ball off your head every single game. I think Will Campbell can be a tackle, but I think he's going to fall in the draft because people are going to be scared because of the narrative around him. And I know that might be a hot take, but I believe in it. And if they don't want to, select a tackle the first round because they don't like the value of Kelvin Banks or Will Campbell, okay. Well, then in the second round, back end of the first round, get Ariante Ursary. Those are my guys. Get Kelvin Banks, Will Campbell, or Ariante Ursary. If the Patriots come out with any of those three tackles, I feel confident moving forward about the left tackle position. But man, shout out to all you guys in the chat right now. Really, really appreciate it. I know this was a kind of a late night stream, but unfortunately had to do something today. It was my girlfriend's dad's birthday, so I wasn't gonna be home. I wasn't gonna be in the studio, and then I saw these moves come out later, and I was like, we do not have time to make individual videos on these guys, so we're gonna have to do a live stream. But I know a lot of you have asked me. In fact, I just got a comment now saying, I miss when you did free agency videos when they came out. You're doing live streams, and I don't get to watch them. And so what I'm going to do, it's only 8 p.m. for you, Ray? That's crazy, man. It's 11 for me right now. It's 11 for me. For some of you guys, it might be early. So me saying it's late might be like stupid, but for me, it's a little bit later. What I'm going to do for you guys is that any live streams we do involving free agents, I'm going to clip those videos. I'm going to go back. I'm going to clip those videos, and I'm going to upload them to the video section on this YouTube channel so you can look back at each individual signing. What I have done on this channel for the last several years is that I make individual videos for each and every single signing. This year, I did it a little bit different. The Patriots made like 8 moves in one day, and I was like, it is not realistic to get this news out quick for you guys and still get everything out. So I just did a big live stream about all of them instead. So what I'm going to do is anytime that there's a lot of moves that happen at once and we do a live stream instead of individual videos for each signing, we're going to go back. We're going to clip the segment where we talked about that player, and we're still going to upload it. It might come out a little bit later, but that way it's easier for you guys to find the videos on specific players that you are looking for. But hey, guys, do me a big favor. Hit the like button on your way out. I know we got another super chat to get into. Brooke, are you 1 p.m.? Hold up, Brooke. Brooke, where are you? That it is 1 p.m. It is 11 p.m. for me right now. It is 8 p.m. for Ray. Where the heck are you? That is a 1 p.m. That's crazy. It's 9 p.m. for you, Franco? 9 p.m. Guys, we're all on different times. That's crazy. That's the last time I say it's too late to make a video. Do you guys know how many times I want to drop a video and I'm like, it's too late. Nobody's going to be up. Apparently all you guys are up. We're never not dropping videos now. But let's get into the last super chats before we log on off here today. Diehard Pats fan, you're back at it again, Diehard. Let's go. Let's freaking go. $10 donation from Diehard Pats fan, man. You guys are freaking killing the super chat game today. I'm loving every second of it. Said, hope the week ahead is a good one. To you, PG. Whatever's going on in your life, you got us, bro. I was going to say you got this. I have dyslexia, guys, so sometimes my mind plays some tricks on me. But you got us, bro. Sending prayers. And as always, support. You are the best. Shout out to you, Diehard. Really appreciate the love. Appreciate the support, as always. I use this channel as my free therapy. If I'm sad, I'm angry, I'm mad, I hit the record button, and all my worries go away. That's all because of you guys. Just remember that. Ray comes in here, my boy, with a $2 donation. Says nothing, just a super sticker, just showing some love, Ray. Love you, brother. Appreciate all your support. I see you in every show I'm on. Means the world to me. We got Jayco TV coming in here with a $5 donation saying, where do you think the Pats' next wide receiver comes from? Much love from Cape Cod. Oh, Cape Cod, man. I haven't been Cape Cod in a minute, man. Oh my gosh. I gotta go. I gotta get back there. You are living my life right now. Cape Cod, I wish I was there instead of where I am right now. I'll tell you that much. But where do I see the next Patriots wide receiver coming from? Has to come through the draft, okay? What we have learned, and I said this earlier, what we have learned is that you want good offensive players, you have to draft them. Good offensive players do not become available. You want a quality tackle or a starting caliber tackle? Those guys don't become available. You thought Ronnie Stanley was hitting the open market, a good offensive lineman, psych, goes back with his team. You thought Trey Smith, a guard, was going to hit the open market? He's a good offensive lineman. Teams want their quarterbacks to be protected. He doesn't hit the open market. How many times over the last 2 years did we think a good wide receiver was going to hit the open market? Last year, it was T. Higgins, Mike Evans, and Michael Pittman. 3 guys we said the Patriots should go after. None of them hit the open market. This year, we said T. Higgins, Chris Godwin. I think there were a couple more out there. None of those guys hit the open market. I guess Chris Godwin technically did, but he didn't actually hit the open market. He hit the open market. So with that being said, if you want a good offensive lineman, you want a good wide receiver, you simply have to draft them and develop them. This isn't a very good year for wide receivers. You know what I'm saying? Like, the receivers that I think are going to thrive most in this draft class, they come somewhere between rounds 2 to 5. And everybody wants Ted McMillan because he's the projected number 1 guy. If they come out with a wide receiver that's not named Ted McMillan, I think we'll be okay. There's no solidified number 1 guy. There's no Malik Neighbors. There's no Roma Dunze. I think if Ted McMillan is in last year's wide receiver class, he's not a first-round pick. So I would wait till next year. If that's the route that they want to take, I'd be fine with it. If this year they want to go with like a Jalen Noel, a Jaden Higgins, a Jalen Royals, those are 3 receivers right there in the mid rounds that I'd be really, really happy if the Patriots came out with. So that's what I would expect. I wouldn't expect them to come out with a wide receiver 1 this offseason. I think if they do, it's a surprise trade for Brandon Ayuk. Other than that, I don't think they're getting a wide receiver 1 this offseason. And I would say a wide receiver 1 at this point is more unlikely than it is likely. But I still think they're going to end up drafting one. But guys, this is where I kick it off to you. What are your thoughts on the Patriots' new 2 free agent additions here in safety Marcus Epps and offensive lineman Wes Schweitzer? Let me know in the comment section below. Again, kind of to recap my thoughts, I just think both of these guys are camp bodies. I think both of them are coming in to serve as depth and compete come training camp. Not the sexiest signings, but the Patriots made sexy signings on Monday, and we talked all about them in a recent live stream. So make sure you guys check that out if you want to hear my thoughts and analysis on Milton Williams, Carlton Davis, pretty much every single signing that they made, this past Monday. As always, leave a big like on the video on your way out and subscribe here to the channel for all of your New England Patriots news, thoughts, reactions, and breakdowns. We have a lot more content coming your way, guys. Still some free agent targets I think the Patriots could go after. Got a mock draft coming out for you guys probably about next week is when I'm thinking that one's going to drop. Start to kind of transition here into a little bit more draft content. But as always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys for kicking it with me here tonight to talk about some Patriots news, and go Pats.